Alright, I'm going to talk about a little Excel program I came up with last year. Hey, before we start, when you're looking at YouTube, there's this little gear symbol down here. Press this. See where this says quality? Make sure this says minimum 720p. And then on the far right, you can expand the screen to take up your entire screen. And we need to do that. I'm sure you're looking on a regular monitor, not a TV. So, essentially what I did, I made a spreadsheet. And what I have done, so right now I take all the duct out of Duct Designer. We download it into Vulkan, which I'm not going to show you, you don't care about that. But what I can do with that, so Vulkan makes a duct list, all the different types of fittings, you know, if it's standard duct off the coil line, spiral, if it's lined, if it's segmented where the duct's too big, and so on and so forth. So I had to come up with like a way to be able to download the Vulkan. I can export that duct list, which has all the area of the sheet metal of the fitting, the connectors, the stiffeners, everything. So what I did, so my basic thought when I started this, I started off saying, hey, you know, for each different type of fitting, you know, a radius 90, a square throat 90 with vanes, or a standard piece of duct off the actual coil line, I had to come up with like a baseline. So what I did, so I came up with a formula, you know, how long does it take to make a 12 by 12 90 with vanes? And then I built off of that. So, as you can see, the left column of the red over here is where, I'll show you in a minute, where I'm actually going to insert the data from Vulkan. But on the right side, I start getting into my duct sizes and type. So here's an example. This is for standard duct. So it actually has spots where if it's in Vulkan, it's lined. I can adjust the time for that. Assembly. Cut duct, which is anything other than a piece of straight duct off the coil line that's a piece of straight duct. Transitions, you know, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to show you. So I actually made this, looks like April 2018. I'm going way too far here. And before I drop this in, I want to show you something else. So at the end, I've got a summary. So as you can see, basically it's just a list, you know, coil line runtime, assembly, fitting run, fitting assembly, dampers. Right now I don't have it set up for all this stuff, it needs more work. But for spiral, round fittings, you know, I need to work on like applying time for wrapping the duct ends, hangers, actually burning the metal off the burner, actually cutting the blanks off the coil line, and, you know, eventually getting to the point where I can have an actual fabrication time complete. So what you're getting ready to see happen, I'm going to drop in. So from Vulkan, I can export out that duct list and data like I was talking about to a CSV file for Excel. So I simply, you know, I export that, it creates an Excel file, I copy that data, and then I can drop it in. So you kind of started to see all these numbers changing over here. You know, you have to go down this list. There's a whole lot, but as you see over here, you can barely read it because I got the column cut off. But standard duct transitions, so on and so forth. This was pretty extensive. I probably got about 60 or 70 hours involved in this. And at the time, I was trying to get a little better with Excel, so this was a good project for me. I kind of did all this on my own time as well. But as we go down this, you can start seeing just how complicated this actually gets. I mean, all the way down, all the different, you know, end caps, rectangular T, radius T, dampers, canvas, Y branch, I mean, every fitting possible. And I kind of started at that baseline, what a 12 by 12 piece of duct was, and then I came up with formulas that applied a variable to the square footage of the duct. So without getting too crazy here, you know, at the end, I end up with a summary of hours, you know, coil line runtime. Now, here's where my problem is. I don't think this is that difficult of a thing to do. The hard part is getting good data from the shop. I tried about 10 different batches of duct and they fucked it up every time, and I couldn't get them to post things correctly, and we all know this story. It's nothing new to anybody else. I don't think I can do much more with this until I can get accurate information from the shop. So I think I'm going to need a little help on it. I think we have to get to this point where we can electronically download and then simply insert this in here where I can get times quickly. I mean, I can't draw the job and start sending all the drawings up to estimation to take off again. I can only imagine how much of a pain in the butt that is. And from what I've seen, listen, I don't look at your estimations, but I start comparing pounds and stuff like that, and it's just not there. I'm worried it's not accurate enough for us to be able to schedule off them. It's one thing to have an estimation. I need something better than that. And we all know this already too. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants when we do these jobs, and we just start putting stuff into the shop, not having a real outlook and a plan to go forward. And hell, I think a lot of times, we can't foresee in a month, if we actually need 15 people in the shop versus the 8 we got now. It just doesn't happen. So this is something I really want to focus on. Not necessarily me. I mean, I've started it, but we need something like this. I mean, with my time constraints, with everything else I got going on, obviously in the short term, I'm not going to be able to mess with this that much. But I need a tool like this, some sort of a tool to be able to get, mostly accurate time, what it's really going to take to make that batch of duct, and to be able to make an accurate schedule. Without it, it means nothing. I mean, we can also start moving even further than that. Here's the real problem too. We just never know what's coming. These design build jobs or any other thing that flows into the shop that can affect the schedule, it needs to be able to be updatable and to see how it's going to affect work farther down the line. And we need to be able to adjust ahead of time instead of realizing a week before that we're fucked. So that's it. Let me know what you think about that, and if it's worth me moving forward with what I have here, or let's come up with something different.